Okay, first question. What will it take for social emotional learning to become a consistent practice in Black communities? We're talking about systemic change. Where do the resources lie, and who are the gatekeepers for these resources? Let's start with you, Jay.
I think the first thing is awareness. In order for Black SEL to be prioritized in communities, people have to know what it is and believe that it is a part of the solution, if not the solution. That's debatable. Personally, I believe that it is a key part of the solution, and people have to know what it is and why it is a part of the solution first. After that, I think it has to have a level of momentum. And so it takes individuals working collectively to build and maintain that momentum. In terms of where the resources lie, I think a piece of it is that the resources lie in us as individuals and a collective, and then there's also all of the like material resources. So when we talk about the gatekeepers, unfortunately, one of the biggest gatekeepers is whiteness and white supremacy, and it is white supremacy's duty, if you will, to ensure that Black SEL is not a part of the conversation. It is, because it is a solution, we can't actually talk about it or be about it if we're trying to really create change. And so that the gatekeepers are the people who want to prevent it from being a part of the conversation, prevent people from knowing and accessing the information that they need to really mobilize it. But with all of the people in this room and the people on this panel and all of the people that we touch, I think that that is where we really do the work. Each of us does our part. We get in connection with people that are doing their part, and we build it up. We have the conversations. We bring the topics into communities, people who may not readily be able to access it. We introduce it or support them in understanding how they are already doing that work but haven't necessarily labeled it Black SEL. I think you talked about historically what our grandparents and parents and generations have poured into us was Black SEL all the time. And so being able to name it and move with others, I think is a big part of it.
We know that most of the teachers, I had a different experience. We were segregated in Durham public schools. In fact, it was called Durham City Schools. So all of my teachers looked like me. My principals looked like me. So they poured into me those things that I needed. That dynamic has changed. Most of your teachers now are not people of color. Clayton County has done something different with SEL. And Dr. Simpson, I want you to talk about what you do in Clayton County, Georgia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Good morning, and I want to give a shout out to Kristen. You did it, girl. That's all I'm going to say for right now. But real quick, first I want to make this comment. We don't have to ask permission for SEL or Black SEL to exist. Let's be clear. We're not asking for permission. We didn't ask for permission when we decided that Black Lives Matter. So we're not going to ask for permission for Black SEL to exist, okay? That's number one. Number two, we didn't ask for permission when we decided that during a pandemic, that when we came back to school or started school back, that we needed to start it back a little bit different. And that was the focus on, I guess, compassion over content, something that involved grace and mercy, that we knew we needed to tap the inner souls and spirits of children before we could get really back into the essence of what teaching and learning was all about. So we understood that as a school district. Now, again, we didn't ask for permission. We recognized that we had brown babies that looked like us that were suffering and that had been through a traumatic experience. And so in order for us, because some of us unfortunately did not realize the importance that you needed to establish a relationship based on genuine love, care, and concern with children before a pandemic. Unfortunately, it took a pandemic for us to recognize that, unfortunately, some of us. But for those that did not realize it, we had to create a platform for that. It happened to have been SEL. In order for it to be intrusive, and in order for us to be invasive in our communities and in our school districts, then one, we have to understand something that Kristen said, is that SEL has to be who you are and not what you do. If it's something that you do, then it's going to come across as, oh, as a teacher, this is something else added to my plate. We didn't approach it from that perspective in our school district. One, we started out with the conversation where you do know you have to love children, just in case you forgot. Just in case you forgot why you were here, you do know you need to love children first. So if you don't love children, SEL is not going to be a part of who you are.